Sorare Rivals is of course still being developed, but there's one problem I really can't see past, and the worst part is I don't see it changing. Now before we get into that, you've got to think, what is the objective of Rivals? Why is it here? Why did Sorare develop it? And for me, I still don't really know, and I would question whether Sorare know as well, because there's a couple of avenues you can go down. Is it to onboard new users, so anyone that's new to the game gets a light version on how to play, for free and learn the essentials? Or is it a kind of in addition to pro, as a user of Sorare, as a fan, you get to play it every day, you get to be more engaged, and you get to try, different aspects with similar cards that are in your gallery. Because knowing that will really change how you should approach this game and how the game should be developed and marketed. But I don't want to get into the negatives too soon, so let's talk about some of the things that Sorare has done incredibly well with the outroll of Sorare Rivals, even though it is in beta stage and can be changed. Firstly, we have simplicity. It's so incredibly simple. You can just download the app and play whether you've never played Sorare before or whether you're a Sorare expert playing full time. I think that's absolutely incredible considering how complex Sorare Pro is as a game, and yeah, should be great for onboarding new users. The app or the game itself is so clean, it looks so professional to use, from the animations to the graphics to the way it all works together, and that still can be improved and I'm sure will be improved, and even the best of it, it should be quite simple to do. The global coverage also really impressed me. For almost every professional football game to be covered on this, it's quite a complex task that they managed to, make into a neat product, which, yes, it's not perfect, but at the same time, if you want to play a game from Spain or you want to play a game in Argentina or Brazil, all of those different options are available. The idea of going without the cards and just having the names and stuff, I think that was a great addition, and yeah, really well done from them. But despite all of the positives that I've just discussed, some marketing campaigns and some other programs to try and push new users to join hasn't really had that effect that Sorare would like to see. At least not immediately. Let me get into some of the numbers. Now, to be honest about these statistics, I don't have the perfect information in front of me. The numbers that you'd want to see is some combination of, okay, how many managers of free-to-play have been onboarded and how many of those managers have been converted into, full-time Sorare players. And for that, we're going to have to just use almost that second metric here, which is the number of new managers that have bought a card on Sorare. Because buying a card for Sorare Rivals isn't necessary, but it does give you a boost in the game, so you'd hope a couple of new users have done that. For January 2024, we saw 2,863 new users buy a card on Sorare, and that number really isn't that spectacular. Now, we haven't closed out February, but it's looking to arrive at an absolutely very similar number. Now, to put that into perspective, last year across January and February, we had 6,000 new users, and the yearly low across 2003 was 2,146 in July 2023. So 600 new users, despite this product that had been worked on for probably a year plus. And then you consider it to the month before it was rolled out, we had 5,000 new users. So a 50% decrease across, what I would consider the prime rollout stage, the first 2 months of a brand new product where everyone's talking about it. And you can already see now, if you go onto Sorare Twitter, the discussions around Rivals lineups and winning rewards across Rivals itself, it's hugely diminished. No one is really talking about it anymore. And the reason is the reason I made this video. Now, this problem that I don't see changing, I provide a lot of feedback on this in, before it was rolled out as part of, the testing system. And of course, it's not just my opinion. Other people think the same. And of course, people think completely the opposite to me. But what it is we're kind of stuck between being this product to onboard new users, and then also we're trying to help people that have bought real Sorare cards and spent thousands of pounds on the game and helping them as well and giving them new additions. And I almost feel like, we're trying to be both and we've got neither. How I can give you an example of that is if you're a brand new user and you set up and you want to play this game, you go on, you're free to play, you can build 5 cards, and you can come up against someone that has, paid to win, essentially. They've got a 20% boost, which doesn't mean they win, but they've got a higher likelihood to win. So you're not going to get into that competitiveness where it's like, do you know what? He knew so much better about me, that game than me. Fair play to him. He's gone and got the win. It's kind of like, well, I came up against a bad opposition because he had paid to play. And at the same time, they rolled out this new matchmaking system, which doesn't really make sense, where if you have gone and spent a lot of money on the game, they try and pair you up with someone that has also done that. So in the same time, if you've gone and spent £100,000 or if you've gone and spent £10,000, you feel that you're being cheated because the least you could get from spending that money is being able to smash free-to-play players and walking your way through the arena and maybe picking up some more rewards. So that's not happening either. And the problem with that is that if you are going to push this system where it's like, the more money you spend, the better, but it doesn't guarantee a win, you've got to have rewards that justify that. And I don't see that being possible because they already pay out so much in the Sorare Pro leagues where it's like that should be your main focus. So the big problem for me is that it's not being used properly or efficiently to onboard new users, and then it's not being aided to professional players or people that are really big fans of the game. They're kind of being left in no man's land either because, going on a win streak to win a really small percentage of winning a low value card, it's just not something what people want to do. For me that loves Sorare, plays it religiously, I don't really want to play Sorare Rivals. There's not really an ambition for me to play it. And starting Sorare Rivals when it was, rolled out, of course it's going to be fun. But now I really have no interest unless you're going to give me rewards which are justified for the time, but you're rolling them out in Sorare Pro where they should be. And then I think about, okay, well, some of these marketing campaigns have been absolutely fantastic. There's a chance to go with Zidane and, meet him and go to a football game together. That is an absolute dream scenario. But is it needed for Rivals? Is that something that you think, right, so a new user joins a platform and gets this incredible experience all for free if they win the draw, or at the same time, someone that spent loads of money has the equivalent chance of going and having that same experience? It's cool, it's really cool, but it's just not what's needed to onboard new users. You could give them such a small cash incentive, right? If you give them £100, £200, £300 prize pool, right, anyone that joins in February 2024, only you guys can play this, sign up now, play the game, you'll be competing against other people. You can even add that paid element where it's like, you'll get a 20% bonus just for buying this £5, Harry Maguire card. That would progress people into the game, and it would slowly push them to Sorare Pro, which I appreciate they're trying to do with this whole Zidane stuff and other content creators that have been given the chance to run their leagues. But it's almost too good a prize where so many people are going to enter a raffle for that. I'm not even going to try and get a ticket for it because it's such a low probability. Just for the simplicity of it, I would much rather take, let's say, £500 out of the Sorare Pro pools, right, the cash pools, take £500 out of that, give that to just new players that have onboarded via Sorare Rivals. And in addition to that, you take this once in a lifetime experience and put it in the Pro, whoever comes first of the Pro, whichever division you pick, let's say Champion Europe. And that seems like such a better management of prize pools. Small cash prizes like, 20, 30, 40 pounds for doing well in this free to play game. That's going to be spread about and talked about a lot more in my opinion. And then on the counter side, anyone that's playing that Champion Europe division, they actually feel like they have a chance because there's only, 4,000, 5,000 people that you need to beat. And everyone in Sorare Pro knows, you could win it once. You just need your players to hit those decisives and get lucky one weekend. And before some idiot comes on and tells me there's an elo system, that's what makes good players play good players and bad players play bad players. No, it doesn't. I am a chess.com addict. I've played so much on chess.com, which probably has the best elo system in the world, at least the best I've ever seen. For that, you get different rankings based on, different types of chess. And then also it's used across the world of like, okay, how good of a player are you? Oh, I'm this level, I'm that level. Even on like, world competitions, they've got the graphics, exactly how good that guy is, at least in that elo system. And that would never happen on Sorare in its current format because a good elo doesn't mean that you're good at the game. It means one of two things. You've spent more money or you've played more, because the more games that you play, the higher your elo system goes, and the more that you've spent, the more likely you are to win those games. For example, every time you win a game, you get more than if you would lose a game. It doesn't really matter who you play. And at the same time, that can be manipulated, and that doesn't make sense at all because, if I wanted to grow my elo system and just constantly go up, I could just take my time, and every Leipzig game that comes along that I think they'll win, I'll just play there. That's how I've been, growing my win streaks, for example, because I've got so many pro cards that I've got such a good advantage against anyone else that I come up against. And then on the other side, if you're really pushing to be, one of the best players and you really want to go out and just, be the highest elo, you need to play every single game. And it's like, okay, well, the more games I play, the higher likelihood I'll go up. But does it make sense that I need to, play through the night or play, let's say the Argentinian league, which I have no knowledge of, but I have great knowledge of the European leagues? I mean, the whole system doesn't really make sense to me. To recap some of the points I've just discussed to make it clearer, I currently think the biggest problem is that we're stuck between using Sorare Rivals to onboard new users and using Sorare Rivals to entice, pro cards, to spend more money on pro cards. And we're currently stuck in no man's land where no one's really satisfied and we're not making a real impact on either of them. And then the other point is that the marketing campaigns have been, cool. Like playing with Zazan is a really cool prize, but I think it's in the wrong prize pool, for example. Like, I really think that would be better in the pro lineups and you take money and just give it to new players, because that's far easier to onboard them, far easier to market. And then also the elo system doesn't really make sense, because the more you play, the higher elo goes, and it doesn't mean you come up against harder opposition. It just means you're coming up against either people that play more or have paid more. And I know some of those issues can be changed quite easily. It's still a beta and they're testing stuff, and I completely understand that. But the idea of, are we going to just onboard new users and bring this as a fair free-to-play platform that you play for bragging rights, or a pro system where, you get an extra addition to your cards, you get extra utility for your cards, almost like a Sorare Mega? It concerns me that that's not going to be fixed, and that's one of the core issues stopping the growth of Sorare and Sorare Rivals. Hopefully you guys understand my point of view here, and I always like to offer solutions to the problems. And the solution to me is that you have the best of both worlds. You have a free-to-play, doesn't matter how many Sorare cards you have, you run that league and people just climb to be the best, the smartest football manager on the game. And then the other division, you have the Sorare paid leagues, where it's, a little bit of both, where, I have great knowledge and I also gone out and spend a lot on different cards, and you can have different prize pools. This free-to-play version can just have, top 3 people rewarded or something. Even no one, it doesn't matter. FPL, 10 million people and the top 100 or something get a pathetic prize. Like, people will play for that just for bragging rights and to beat their friends and stuff. And, on that other side, as a pro division player, you get to play against other people that are so enthralled in the game and just, get those bragging rights, and at the same time, maybe a better prize. So let me know what you think of that. I hope you liked the video. All the best. Cheers.